Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I have been on here live. I don't think I've been here on live since this year has started. So welcome, everyone. Those of you that are new, there are many new people in the group as well. I'm Jen Gilchrist, the host of the Soul Inspired Leaders Collective, and I am excited to give a little month by month or week by week breakdown for January. We are heading into kicking off in the beginning of the year. It's already like, I can't believe it's the 11th already. And we have some retrogrades coming up and all the things. So I like to give these readings, and I think I'll start with, even though we're already into the 11th, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give a little overview of like what we've just gone through and opportunities there. My intention is always to just help you to align and navigate with the energy that's happening in the collective, so that you can align with your highest and best life. So say hello, whether you're live or on the replay. I know this is a little impromptu, but for the week of just starting from January 1st through 9th, in the information that was coming through is from Mother Mary. It says, I trust in my ability to know what is true for me. Be strong. Right. And so I feel like there's lots of ideas. You've likely been having a lot of ideas come to you. Perhaps you had ideas coming to you that you maybe haven't fully taken action on or fully have belief and trust in. So there's a level of just trusting yourself and having integrity in what it is you speak and put out into the world. Let's see, I want to make sure you all hear me. Okay, good. People are joining. Awesome. And so just having integrity, first of all, with your word, but more than anything, what's coming up for me is trust your ideas, trust the inspiration, trust the vision that you have for yourself, right? Whatever it is that you want to create, you absolutely can do that, but you have to just trust yourself in the process. Be strong. I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. And so I feel like there has been a little bit of the beginning of the year, there's like this drive to want to start all the things, and yes, maybe you're hitting the stop-start energy. So whatever it is, just notice that you have all the information within you. You can trust yourself, and just take the 1 or 2 steps at a time, right? You can do this. I'm going to do one more card for that first week of January. So if you haven't taken action on any of these things yet, I'm sure that this is a theme that will still be running throughout the month. And then the Earth and Water Dragon says, creates foundation for new growth. A fresh start is coming with new opportunities. Nurture your ideas and harvest the abundance, right? So this is just a beautiful message to kick off the new year, that whatever ideas or thoughts that are coming to you, it's all available to you. It's all possible. So just trust yourself, pull the strength from within, call in your spiritual support team, and take the action, because it's like fertile ground. It does feel like fertile ground ahead. So let's look ahead now for this current week, for the January 10th through 16th. Hello, Amy and Nikki and Phyllis. I know I've missed being here live. It's been a while. This is my first live in this group for the year. So we're going to pull for this coming week here. Okay, it's different but similar in some ways. There's an action message. Okay, so the first card says sobriety. It says, my clear mind is easily able to focus and concentrate. So I feel like a lot of you are feeling that inner alarm clock going off. I know for this month, the monthly theme was soul purpose. It's like your time is now. So those of you in this group, many of you might know that you feel called to be of service in the world. And so a clear mind is important to help that clarity and focus. Some of you might be called to, this is pretty direct, right? There's lots of cards that could say this, sobriety. So for some of you, if you've been getting that inkling or nudge, to stop drinking alcohol or smoking or whatever it is that is that is a vice that is being used as a way to numb or manage stress. It just feels like kind of getting those unconscious coping patterns or unhealthy coping patterns in check, right? Whatever that means to you, it's definitely not going to be for everybody. But it is saying that you don't want to allow like stress or uncertainty or those types of things to actually move us into patterns that are going to hold us back and keep us stuck, right? Because the next card is action. So it could be also, what you're putting into your body. For some of you, our body is our vessel, and part of the manifestation process and being grounded and focused and able to take action and show up in the world in the way that we're being called to requires that grounded, clear mind, right? And so just notice, it might even also be how you're eating. Maybe you're called to, detox in some form or fashion. So take that as it resonates for you. Action is as today I take action related to the priorities that I have previously put off. And so that's what's coming up here. It's kind of building into that initial message from the first week, right? Taking action, clear your mind, focus your energy, prioritize your time and energy on the things that are going to light you up, right? I know that sometimes, stepping out, and especially those of you that feel called to have your own business or do have your own business, sometimes it's, it's vulnerable to put yourself out there, but you absolutely have amazing gifts to share and everything you need to do it. So this is about just finding out, how can I, get into motion with what it is that I am called to do. Hello, Patty, Karen, Julianne. Great to see you all here as well. Hello, Marie. The next card for this week is gratitude. As I notice and appreciate my blessings, I open the door to more of God's gifts. Right? So gratitude is a really powerful manifestation tool. It also helps us start to look at what's working as opposed to what's not. Right? It's real easy to be like, oh my gosh, this one thing didn't go right, or, kind of get derailed, maybe even in disappointment if something didn't go well, right? That might create inhibition or like intrepidation, I should say, about taking action again on the next idea or project or whatever it might be, right? Because I'm reading for a lot of you guys, but it's about focusing on what's working, focusing on what you already have, focusing on what is good, focusing on what you want, right? This is about putting attention forward so that you can take those steps as well. Okay, so let's move on to, actually, I feel like one more card, maybe Mother Mary's coming through. So maybe there's just a level of, first of all, it kind of reminds me, her energy is just super nurturing, right? Kind of supportive energy, but also it's about opening up that receptivity to receiving as well. Love is the answer to all of my questions. Isn't that funny? So I feel like just open your arms and just allow yourself to be loved and supported. Love yourself, right? I think it's a powerful practice actually to just send yourself love, rubbing your hands together. We're all natural healers. Just putting your hands in that heart and just sending that, your energy to yourself, right? Fill yourself up with your own love cup, but also just allowing yourself to open up and receive to love from others, and remembering. And I feel like the other aspect of this card is love, right? Love is real versus fear. Where are you putting your attention in a more larger context? Okay, so let's go on to the week of the 17th through 23rd. Now we're moving into about when retrograde, I think, starts. Mercury's coming into retrograde this month. Gives us lots of time to review. Okay, jump in. This is interesting because I did an annual reading as well for the year of 2022. And it was definitely saying like, start the year with getting into action. Perhaps because we are going to be having into retrogrades here, but the jump in, it says Andromeda energy adventure, say yes to change. So jump in. It just feels like allow yourself to pivot, allow yourself to shift, allow yourself to kind of get out of maybe you're pigeonholed into one idea of how things could look or should look, right? Or maybe you have a new idea that feels scary, right? Or maybe that feels vulnerable. Maybe you're being called to come out of the spiritual closet. Like everybody's going to be a little different, but this is just saying whatever those ideas are, whatever those visions are, just jump in with 2 feet, right? It's about taking action one step at a time. You don't have to do it perfectly. And it's about being in that energy and vibration of adventure, right? And saying yes to change, being open to things looking different. There's always a new point of alignment. There's always a new action to take to align us with where we want to go, no matter where we are at any given point in time. And so remember that as you venture forward, you want to just focus. And I'm also, this is actually the second time I just pulled this card for the first time recently on an individual reading, but this is like, I also see that third eye, right? Like I'm just seeing, it doesn't say anything about the third eye, but I'm just feeling like that third eye energy of, I don't know if you can see that, or maybe it just looks like an eye to me, but it's about your vision. It's about holding true to your vision, leaping into the unknown and trusting the process. Longing for a home, homesick for the stars. And so I do feel like there is your spiritual support team feels very strong around you. So remembering to invite your spiritual support team. And I also think as empaths and sensitives, sometimes it's like we feel misunderstood, or we feel like, we're the odd man out, and maybe your family doesn't get what you're doing or your spiritual path, right? Like there's a certain sense of longing for belonging, I guess is kind of the word I'm feeling. But this is powerful. Being in groups like this, like-minded community, is a way that you can start to fill up that place in your heart, for one. And secondly, I think there is an aspect too of just authentically being you, allowing yourself and giving yourself that permission to be authentically expressed feels so validating as well, right? Instead of trying to conform to everybody else's ideas of who you should be or what you should be. 2 more cards for this week. And it says, fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposite extremes in life. And this kind of came out with it. Karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity. Well, gosh, of all the decks, I have a lot of decks here. They're almost the same. Soul growth and conflict. So surrender to what is. Accept what is. If something's going on, that isn't exactly feeling great, whether it's the outcome you didn't want to receive or a conflict with somebody else or the business not being quite where you want it to be or whatever, disappointment, or whatever it is, just it's about being acceptance of what is. Our point of power is being in an acceptance of what is, and then we can be able to pivot and move forward. It's also saying to be aware of any karmic patterns, like any of those kind of, what is this showing you? If you don't like the situation that's revealing itself, then what's underneath it? What's the core, right? That awareness and that pause and that acceptance and surrendering to what is allows you to see a different perspective and to shift and take new action, right? So that is really the first step of creating something new. I'm so ready to take action, and yes, but I want to tell my family about my truth, but still afraid to come out of the spiritual closet. I know it's a process for sure. And every family is different. Like the thing is with family, family can be a toughie. For sure. I have the same experience. My family, I had a really kind of really conservative religious upbringing, right? And so they don't really understand. And so it was painful to me when I didn't receive their approval initially, right? I was afraid, and then I came out, and then I got, kind of, I guess, a lot of fear more than anything from my family around my spiritual choices. Not everyone's going to have their own thing, but at the end of the day, I realized I had to release the need for their approval and just accept that everybody gets to have their own viewpoint in that way, right? And I know it's scary, and it's one step at a time, and sometimes they're not going to get it, and we don't necessarily have to share everything. But if it's stopping us, what I noticed for me, it was important to own, because I was afraid of people's judgment. I was afraid of seeking outside approval. Those kinds of core patterns were at the root of as why I didn't want to share with my family about my career change initially. So yes, I hope that helps. It's a process, and and still to this day, it's they don't actually understand it or like not only accept it, because they accept me. We're very close. We don't talk about it much, right? But it's no longer, I'm not hiding it. There was a hiding energy initially that kept me hidden and small to others because of those fears of judgment. So as I healed the core need for approval of others and judgments, I mean, that helps you also share more visibly on Facebook or, out in the world, or speaking or writing a book or whatever it is for any of you, right? And so it's important to get underneath those things, and then you can share, and it's okay if they don't get too excited, or if it's not the topic at the dinner table, because you're not needing that in order to feel good about who you are and what you're putting out in the world. Does that make sense? So honesty, I'm in touch with my true feelings regarding this situation. That's so funny. So yeah, get underneath those feelings. If you're feeling, whoever might be feeling in that way as well, just getting underneath, what's really going on and how do I really feel about the situation. If there's something, happening in your world, accept what is, pause, surrender, kind of look at, what is my part within this dynamic? And then how can I now begin to shift it? Interesting. I'm getting a lot of Mother Mary energy. So let's look at the week of the 24th through 31st. 24th through 31st. Hello from Bristol. Okay. So let's see. All right, let's start with these. Oh my goodness, I can't quite reach it. There we go. All right, so the first card is Mercy. I am kind and thoughtful toward myself and others. And I actually feel this is a lot towards self. This is about, I feel like the strongest message for me right now is around self-love, self-acceptance, being gentle with self, being gentle with your process. Sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves, thinking we should be further down the road or doing something better, or we didn't complete the to-do list and now we failed, like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves sometimes. And so this feels like, in some ways, just like look at your eyes towards yourself, right? At the same level of love and grace you would with a child, right? And think kindness towards yourselves as well. So if you're kind of get stuck in that self-criticism or anything like that, just be aware of that and then turn that into that sending yourself love. And mother says, I open my heart to my mother's humanness and her divinity. So there could be, this could be pointing to, but not necessarily for everyone. Well, I'm sure, I feel like the messages always resonate for the collective of who feels called to be here. But it says it could be that whatever, if there is a conflict or if there is a pattern or if there is something coming up, part of it could be in terms of either your female energy or your mother's line programming, or even a relationship with your mother or another female figure, right? It could be, I feel like the answer could be in that space of, that core programming there. And part of this can also be, very directly, this will probably not be for everyone specifically, but to, if there is forgiveness towards ourselves, forgiveness towards our parents for your mother in this place, if there was something that she wasn't able to really provide for you, even if she did the best that she could. Maybe it wasn't like you didn't feel seen or heard or validated in the way that maybe you would have. It feels like there's an underlying, like whatever your pattern is underlying is in something to do with your ability to receive and kind of in that female line or feminine energy. Does that make sense? Tanzanite, ready to love again, right? So I think all of this is really opening up to receiving. There's a lot around love and giving to yourself, right? Tanzanite's a beautiful crystal, but it says you've healed from the past enough to open your heart to new love. And so I feel like, all of this reading too is like, you're being called to put yourself into action and to do the things. And then it's also about balancing with being open to being able to receive, whether it's receiving clients or receiving love or receiving validation, receiving support, receiving money, right? That whole line of when we heal in that way, especially in that female line, we're opening ourselves up to receive and feel worthy. Wellness, the recovery of health and wellness is here, which is so interesting because sobriety came up earlier, right? And usually, I have like 8 different decks around and there's not a lot of cards with that. So for a lot of people, just as I feel like there's a real strong focus on that relationship between your spirit and your body, that like what you're putting into your vessels. When we're manifesting on one level, right? It has to go spiritual and mental, emotional level, and then on the physical level. So sometimes we have to raise our vibration in order to really ground that manifestation into physical form. And then in other times, and a lot of what was coming up earlier is that self-doubt or negative self-talk or the lack of clarity or the monkey mind or like inability to take action. All those things can, sometimes we go into numbing in some form or fashion, which is sort of putting a little disconnect from our body. So it's about honoring your feelings and really acknowledging how you feel and kind of getting to the root cause of things so that, you can fill yourself with the energy and the confidence to take action on your dreams. So it feels like there could be a definite focus on, you being called to drink more water. Maybe it is release alcohol. Maybe it is let go of sugar. Maybe it is drink more, have a cleanse or drink a juice, right? Everybody's going to be different on that one, but that's come up twice very specifically about looking at what are some things that you might be doing to disconnect from your body, to numb from what you're feeling. And it's about really getting under what do you actually really feel, send yourself that love, send forgiveness to yourself and others, and just keep kind of getting underneath it so that you can take action in a way that feels aligned with your higher soul's path. So beautiful. I'm going to pull one more card actually. Green Gold Dragon from Sirius brings universal knowledge to your spiritual pathway. Learn about spiritual technology and be a transmitter of sacred knowledge. I love this. Bring universal knowledge. So part of this is like spending time too. Like I feel like you have, your spirit guides are there for you. So just channeling information from your higher self, from your spirit guides, from just really, I think it's about, this really says, learn about spiritual technology and be a transmitter of sacred knowledge. So this is about developing and cultivating your intuition, which of course, well, maybe not everybody if there's new people, but I love teaching all about developing your intuitive gifts. And so it really is taking the time and space. So if you already are connected in that way, it might be a matter of making the space to pull the messages in, get your guidance so that you can have those aligned actions to take to move forward with. And then for some of you, it might also be to start to cultivate that part of yourself. Actually, I will be having a 4-day series. This is not till next month, but in the coming month, I will be doing a whole series. I know some of you have done that before. Every time it's different and every time it's powerful, and some of you may be new, but this is real. That will be where I go diving deep into helping you cultivate your psychic and intuitive and spiritual gifts. So that will be not until February, but that'll be here before we know it, right? All right. Well, thank you for joining with me. It's been wonderful to have you all here with me, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Bye for now.